friends, tell me honestly, has anyone actually found a job recently? At first, I didn't realize it myself. I've been lying here in this tiny rented room for over 20 days, staring at the ceiling, motionless. I once believed my problem was lacking a certificate, so I pushed myself, earned one, and nothing changed. The job market is a desert. I feel trapped in quicksand, sinking a little more every day. My husband studied abroad in Canada, but now he's back in Guangzhou, earning just 4,000 yuan a month from scattered part-time work. Teaching used to be a proud, stable profession. Now I'm running a street stall, losing over 4,000 yuan in just 20 days. Every morning, I see people digging through trash bins outside, more and more of them young, dressed like they once had good jobs. When one leaves, another appears. It's devastating. China feels like it's divided into just 2 or 3 layers now, the rich, the powerful, and the rest of us barely surviving. Every time I find a job, it slips away within weeks. Sometimes I feel like I'm the one disappearing. My days have melted into one endless blur, sleeping in the morning, chasing interviews in the afternoon, and spending sleepless nights fighting panic. Once, a degree meant a future. Now graduates crowd the streets, chasing ghosts of opportunities already gone. Even government workers aren't safe. In my county, quarterly bonuses vanished, salaries got delayed, and civil servants quietly admit they can't afford rent. I work at a central state-owned company. We haven't been paid for 2 months. When even the government can't pay its own people, what future are we clinging to? These days, I tell my friends one thing: stop spending, stop buying, save whatever you can. Just today, 6 business owners called me, all saying the same thing. We're done. There's no money left. We're switching to zero inventory. We can't hold on anymore. One asked how my business was doing. I laughed bitterly and said, "It's the worst year of my life." But the truth is, it's not just me. It's the collapse of an entire system. You want to know how bad it's gotten? Here's a cruel little story. Years ago, a woman rejected me on a blind date because I wasn't rich enough. My car was cheap, my salary small. Last week, she messaged me again, saying she'd finally seen my value. You know why? Because she's broke too. Because now there's no one left to use. But poverty doesn't make us blind. It just strips away the illusions. After a whole year of grinding work, what did we get? The mutton market crashed. Russian imports are selling for $12 a kilo. Local prices have hit rock bottom. My shop didn't sell a single thing today. Not one customer, even during the National Day holiday. The streets are silent. Business is dead. And so, it seems, is the hope that once kept us moving. China's economy is collapsing faster than anyone dared to believe. Factories are shutting down, the young can't find work, and small businesses are quietly dying one after another. Millions are left with nothing. No jobs, no savings, no dignity. Online, young people cry into the void. Some search trash bins just to eat. Beneath the silence, anger is rising like a storm waiting to break. The system is cracking, the economy is bleeding, censorship is choking, and faith in the future has vanished. Life in China feels drained of color, as if hope itself has gone extinct. This isn't just a downturn. It's the slow collapse of everything we once trusted. And if you're struggling to survive, you already know. This isn't living. It's barely holding on. Each morning grows heavier than the last. Bills pile up, rent rises, and jobs vanish faster than dreams. You wake up tired, go to bed defeated, and somewhere in between you ask yourself, is this really life now? We work longer hours for smaller paychecks, while everything around us becomes more expensive. The gap between rich and poor has turned into a canyon, and those above keep climbing higher, stepping on those below. Even the simplest dream, owning a home, earning enough to live, now feels out of reach. You lose one job, then another, and fear becomes your shadow. You send resumes into silence, waiting for replies that never come. And when you finally speak out, they call you negative, unpatriotic, a threat. But how can telling the truth be a crime? Why must we bow to a system that crushes us? Why must we smile and say thank you while we starve? We never asked for power, only for peace, to live, to breathe, to exist with dignity. Yet somehow, even that has become too much to ask. I once heard a story that hit me hard. A man drove for 2 hours with the state radio playing, endless talk of record harvests. But when he stepped outside, the truth was everywhere. Factories shuttered, banks collapsing, farms underwater. In Shandong and Henan, crops rot in the mud. Farmers can't dry their peanuts. Imagine losing your job, turning to farming for survival, only to watch your harvest wash away. Wouldn't that break anyone? And so I've made peace with my choices. If I want to lie flat, I'll lie flat, on my bed, my couch, or the ground. If I want to quit, I'll quit. If I choose not to marry or have kids, that's my right. You never cared about my life, so don't tell me how to live it. This morning, someone messaged me, "Delete your video." I asked, "Who gave you the right to silence me?" I only spoke the truth about ordinary people, people like us. If that makes me the enemy, so be it. I'll stand on that side with pride. I'm just one small voice, but I'm not afraid. If you hear me, leave a word, support. Let them know. We're still here. There was once a man named Langzai Xiaoniu, a quiet soul who asked for nothing from the world. He lived alone in a crumbling house with his cats, growing vegetables in the dirt, raising chickens in his yard, cooking with scraps of firewood. He hurt no one, broke no law, lived gently, and yet one day he was banned, not for any crime, but simply for lying flat. In a time when everyone is told to run, to compete, to obey, he chose peace. That was his rebellion. His joy came from the simplest things: a broken chair rescued from a demolition site, a handful of peppers from his garden, a stray basketball that rolled into his yard. He wasn't chasing wealth or fame, only silence and the freedom to breathe. But even that kind of life has become forbidden now, not because it harms anyone, but because it refuses to fit the mold. In today's world, if you slow down, they call you lazy. If you speak truth, they call you dangerous. Step outside, and the truth hits harder than the cold wind. Warehouses overflow with unsold goods. Factories lie silent. Families drown in debt. I walked out this morning and was stopped by police. They didn't ask for ID, they just pushed me into their car, searched me, and left me standing outside an embassy, pockets empty. My tears felt hot, my body cold. Tell me, what should I do now? If this is the life they want us to live, then why not just close the country again, lock the gates like in the old Qing dynasty? Recently, a group of South Korean tourists visited Zhangjiajie. Their guide held a small flag, barely visible in the crowd. Then suddenly, a man rushed forward, snatched it away, shouting as if he were defending the nation. The guide said nothing. He quietly folded the flag and walked on, eyes lowered, his silence heavier than any protest. And I wonder, when those tourists return home, what will they say about this land that once called itself proud? Brother, you call yourself a hero, then why stop halfway? If a small flag offends you so deeply, go tear down the big one outside the South Korean embassy, the one guarded by soldiers. But you won't. You only fight those weaker than you. You smash Toyotas on the street but bow to the Land Cruisers. The poorer the target, the louder your patriotism. Where are those so-called warriors now? The ones who screamed on trains, filmed themselves smashing foreign goods for likes and praise? Is that what love for the motherland has become? Bullying strangers, mistaking noise for courage? Here's the truth they can't stand to hear. When a nation opens its heart, its people rise together. But when it closes itself off, driven by fear and hatred, everyone falls. In the end, it isn't the outside world that destroys us. It's the cages we build inside our own minds, one bar at a time.
They say if you can't find a job, it's because your expectations are too high. I went all the way to Guizhou for an opening. Over 700 people applied. I scored 92nd, but only the first place got hired. I studied computer science, yet no one replies to my resumes. At this point, just landing any job feels like a blessing. Scroll through Douyin. 9 out of 10 videos are people crying. Even supermarket owners are weeping. No customers, no business. A man with 14 years in clothing says he's never seen it this bad. Even government offices are cutting back. Official cars must be domestic. No cigarettes, no alcohol, no motai, no hotels for office use. Brothers, life is unbearable. Jobs are so scarce I've almost given up applying. At over 60, in 40-degree heat, I work until I feel dizzy, because if I skip even one day, my family has nothing to eat. I invested 800,000 yuan and 4 years into a shop. It vanished without a ripple. I don't dare start again. In Baoshan, buses run empty. Factories have shut down. Air conditioners stripped away. The economy is collapsing. Factories are bankrupt one after another. In a few years, even a simple laborer's job will be hard to find. Machines are replacing people. A line that once needed 20 workers now uses only 2. Bosses say machines don't complain, don't eat, don't rest, and work 24 hours non-stop. Delivery riders fight for scraps. I worked 5 hours in the sweltering sun for just over 100 yuan. Streets are full of riders, even students. People who used to order food now deliver it themselves. I've been unemployed for a month. My wife's factory has no work either. She sits in her room all day. We just stare at each other while our savings drain away. I thought about delivering food. She begged me not to. It's exhausting, dangerous, and barely pays. Then what should I do? Farmers, too, are suffering. I met a 69-year-old man unloading 8 tons alone in nearly 40-degree heat. He smiled bitterly. We farmers have it the hardest. China's economy is in free fall. A wave of unemployment has swept across industries. Factories shuttered, salaries cut. Layoffs everywhere. Millions can't find jobs. Desperation is spreading. It's too hard. We can't live anymore. Analysts warn that as the downturn deepens, people's lives will worsen, and unrest is inevitable until even the CCP's grip begins to shake. Across the country, authorities are tracking the so-called 4 no's: unmarried, childless, no house, no savings. These people, with nothing to lose, are seen as dangerous, capable of extreme retaliation if pushed. Their numbers are rising fast. I regret coming to Shenzhen. No job, no money, no food, no place to stay. I knock on factory doors before 8 a.m., but most don't provide meals or housing. Even if hired, I couldn't afford to survive here. And then there's us, the laid off. Yesterday, our company looked fine. This morning, all work groups were dissolved with 2 announcements. Overnight, we became like livestock without pasture. We once sold hundreds of millions in live stream sales. Now it's gone. Collapsed so fast, I didn't even have time to feel unemployed. Like a child's shot from a skilled doctor. Before you can cry, it's already over. Look around. This is the migrant workers' market. Mostly heavy labor and odd jobs, but strangely it's filled with middle-aged and elderly people, not the young. Why? Because factories aren't hiring. The jobs here are exhausting, wages low, and many are deceived. Told meals are included, but in the end, not even a proper meal is provided. This year is even worse than last year, a sign that fewer and fewer people remain. In Xi'an, the tourism market is collapsing. It's already late July, yet hotels are empty. Room rates are down, occupancy is down, revenue is down. Not just one hotel, but across the city. As a worker, I can say we're earning almost nothing. Consumers may feel prices are low, but for us, life is unbearable. Salaries are cut and sometimes delayed. My sister came to Guangzhou hoping for a summer job, but after a month, she found nothing. Now she just cooks 2 meals a day at home, and when school starts, I'll give her 30 yuan as her reward. Our own salaries still haven't arrived. Our manager said maybe next month. A colleague traveling in Sanya joked, "By the time I return, will our company still exist?" That's how fragile things are. Even young graduates can't find work unless they have family connections. Without them, stable jobs are nearly impossible. In Pingjiang, a young woman who couldn't get hired ended up teaching at a small kindergarten run by my aunt. I praised her for not being picky. But deep down, it's just survival. Everywhere is the same story. Restaurants have no customers, malls are empty, houses and cars don't sell, farmers and workers are broke. Remember this: if ordinary people have no money, no one can live well. Wages are harder to earn than constipation, yet money disappears like diarrhea. You can't hold it back. From Guangxi, Mr. Li said he and his wife came to Guangdong but found no work. Their savings are nearly gone. Streets that were once bustling are now silent. Many shops stand empty. In Suzhou, a supermarket owner sighed that businesses are collapsing, purchasing power is gone, and migrant populations are shrinking. Suicides are rising. People crushed by debts of just tens of thousands of yuan see no way out but to jump from buildings or bridges. Physical stores are shutting down everywhere. On Fuzhou's Zhongting Street, one of the busiest commercial areas, 12 stores closed within 500 meters. In Chongqing, behind Hongyadong, migrant porters known as Bang Bang live in 3 yuan dorms. They're between 50 and 80 years old, cooking plain noodles without oil because that's all they can afford. Some have lived there for years, unable to pay rent on time. A man told me he earned just 10 yuan that day. Another, with no work, spent his day sitting in a mall for the air conditioning. Shopkeepers, too, are crushed. Rent can be 40,000 yuan, but daily income barely 200, sometimes not even enough for electricity, let alone rent. Nights are sleepless, warehouses are full of unsold goods, and competition is brutal. At Hefei's labor market, the desperation is clear. Dozens of uncles push and shout for a single job, while aunties watch helplessly. The boss only wanted one worker, yet the crowd kept squeezing in. Someone asked, "Is the pay really that high?" No, it's just survival. So where has everyone gone? Empty streets, deserted shops, clothing stores that can't even cover rent. For many, business this year feels like being stranded on a deserted island. Many people leave comments telling me to give up, cut my losses, and find another job. Even hotel tycoons are losing hope. One told me that by September, more than half the hotels will close. July and August, the so-called peak season, are already worse than past years. People cling on, desperate to survive the summer rush. But once September's cold season arrives, panic will break out. First, massive closures. Second, hotels sold off for almost nothing. Brothers, sisters, I too closed my shop today. The storefront is gone, the signboard taken down. By this afternoon, everything will be carted away. I used to post motivational videos, but today I couldn't keep pretending. In early July, leaders met to plan for the second half of the year. What dominated the meeting? Salary cuts. Base pay dropped from 3,000 yuan to 2,000 yuan. For people like me, that's not just a cut. It's a collapse. This isn't just young people's struggle anymore. Middle-aged breadwinners, the elderly, everyone is sinking. Across industries, wages shrink, and in some cases, salaries aren't paid at all. Mr. Li from Xinzhou, Shanxi, told me the economy has basically collapsed. In many counties, the government itself can't pay salaries. Local TV stations shut down. In Dingxiang County, tax bureau officials admitted last December that they reached only half their revenue target, so half the government's salaries went unpaid. And yet, The CCP still insists the economy is stable and confidently boasts of reaching 5% growth. But for the 60-year-olds, construction sites don't hire them anymore. Do you have Social Security? No. They wake at 4 a.m., work fields until 10:30, then again from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., more than 10 hours a day. How much per month? 2 months ago, just over 5,000 yuan total. Each of us earns a little more than 2,000 yuan. That's your 0.6 yuan per meter of farmland. No rest days, not even Lunar New Year. They work in the rain, unless it becomes too heavy to move. One pointed at his torn, muddy boots. Even in the rain, we must come.